All right, so the Mace Front Pendulum. This is the base of everything that you want, that you got a mace for, that you want to do. Perfection and mastery in this front pendulum that we're going to talk about is exactly how you get there. One of the biggest things that I'll tell you is the more I dive into the mace, the more value I'm continually able to find out of this front pendulum. It's going to seem super simple. It's going to seem like, this isn't what I got the mace for, but I promise you, it is exactly what you got the mace for. So right at the hop, I'm just going to knock out a few reps, and then I'm going to break it down. All right, so really what you're learning in this one is you're learning how to work with the mace. At no point, like, you'll see my hands, what most people see is we see my hands kind of pulling and pushing. But that couldn't be further from what's actually happening. So what's happening in the mace here is my hands move on one track, and that's primarily my top hand, and as it moves, you may open the hand up a little bit, but at no point am I crisscrossing my hands. My top hand stays right in line with the center. So as that bell's moving, it comes up, I'm in the center here. As that bell peaks, that mace peaks and it begins to fall, I'm gonna drop with it to give it some acceleration into that next side. What you may have seen from the side there on top of that, is here, give it just that little bit of hips on this. And again, like, I'm using my arms up here as a target to keep myself tight to the body, but I'm not like using that to like throw that through, but there's a little bit of that movement when it happens. There's probably a little bit going in there. It's not something to work for. If it happens naturally, I don't see a reason to fight with it. But if that's what we're trying to do, we're missing the flow that you're trying to find in this mace, in this front pendulum. So now that we've got this, I'm gonna talk through it a little bit. So pick it up here. This is the line that my hands are gonna stay in, ideally and exclusively, on a perfect front pendulum. We're talking perfection, mastery and all that, that is our goal. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of a kick, get it moving, but then I'm gonna get the hips going right away, along with that timing. Again, I'm looking to, when the mace and the head of the mace is on its way up, so is my top hand. When it's on the way down, I'm gonna drop with it and give it that acceleration. If you ever swung a bucket of water, especially, most people had this experience with a kid, you swing that bucket of water, there's that moment where you can work with it, where you're not actually pulling it down, but you're accelerating it by dropping. Same idea. Again, give it that little kick, but again, I'm gonna stay right in that center line. And the biggest thing here is be patient with this height. The height is a byproduct, it's not the goal. One of the things that I love about the mace is it is all about execution. If you are somebody that lifts and moves purely on a point A to point B basis, the mace is going to be very humbling in like the best way if you accept it, but it also helps us understand how we get something done is the more important side of getting things done if we're gonna take it into a training environment. There is no real life consequences to this unless we do something poorly. So again, everything is about execution. On this mace, it's the same story. So again, on the front pendulum, working with it. We drop when it drops. It hits this peak in the middle, and it comes up. I get that float, I get that moment of clarity, as Greg Walsh likes to say. I raise up, and then as soon as it falls, I go with it. And after that, it's just practice. If you find yourself scrunching up your face, that's a sign we're probably too tight. You gotta be loose, you gotta be relaxed. A martial arts background is a high value item in anything with these maces. So, remember, we're gonna operate on this center line, give it that little bit of kick. And again, I'm not passive, but I'm with it. Or I'm gonna catch your ring, be aware of your surroundings. Now getting it from the side again, now you're gonna see this thing stays tight to the body. And you'll see, again, I'm keeping the train on the track. And again, almost all your movement on the mace is accomplished by tiny movements in the body. It's that little swish of the hips. It's that little drive. It's not big. It's not this big sweeping arm motion. The mace is going to move 10 times more distance than I am in this case. My goal is to stay on track and not let the pendulum pull me away.